You know that the best-selling game ever is Minecraft? Minecraft, for those who live under a rock and don't know what it is a sandbox survival game where you can bring your wildest creations to life using nothing but your imagination and the seemingly endless amount of blocks presented to you by the game. Minecraft was released in 2009 by developer Notch and was heavily inspired by a fairly similar sandbox survival game called Infiniminer. Since its release in 2009, Minecraft has become one of the most prominent games in gaming history and in fact is the best-selling game of all time. But recently, a game has come out that many Minecraft fans have flocked to and have began turning on the game for, and that is Hytale. Hytale has become somewhat of a direct competitor to Minecraft, but it's still nowhere near the level of Titan that Minecraft is. That's understandable though, because expecting a game to compare to Minecraft instantly is like asking a rookie quarterback to put up Tom Brady's career stats in their rookie year. But if Minecraft is this amazing sandbox game with an infinite level of creation, then why have so many people moved to Hytale? Well, I think it's because Minecraft can get really stale after a while, as while there's a lot to do, there's not really a lot to work with. And Mojang, the dev team that work behind it, are often afraid to add big updates that can make waves within the game, so they usually stick to tame, small, like one mob, 2 block updates. The recent Sulfur Cave update is pretty neat, but it still feels really lacking. The new mob is cool for minigames, but people have been asking for ways of playing better minigames for years. Now people are asking for an end update, and I don't imagine we'll get anything close to that until about 2030, because Mojang for some reason takes 5 years to listen to their fans. Usually when Minecraft gets stale, most people, the ones that don't go and play Hytale, download mods to make their game better, and I do the same. Honestly, Minecraft without mods just feels boring to me now. I suppose Minecraft is as fun as you make it, but I choose to make Minecraft as fun as possible by filling it with mods. And for console players that aren't on PC, they can spend an absurd amount of money paying for Minecoins so they can buy what is essentially mods through the Minecraft store. Worse mods, but albeit mods. But back in the ye old times of 2013, when I was playing on the Xbox 360, this Minecraft store didn't exist. Instead, the only thing you could buy were skins. So, how did a young console player with no computer or knowledge of modding make Minecraft more fun on the Xbox 360? Well, I usually didn't. Sure, you can try and make minigame or something, but those take a lot of time to build, especially if you're a slow-brained child like I was, and by the time you're done, you usually don't want to play Minecraft anymore. But that's where the topic of today's video comes in, Castle Miner Z. Back in 2013, and maybe even still to this day, I was heavily obsessed with zombie survival games. I played games like State of Decay, Apox Z, and Left 4 Dead. And one of the things I wished I could do in Minecraft was use guns so that I could make my own Minecraft zombie survival game. Well, that's essentially what Castle Miner Z is. It's Minecraft, but with guns. At least back in 2013. In Castle Miner Z, there are zombies, skeletons, demons, aliens, dragons, guns, and many blocks to build with. As someone that desperately yearned for Minecraft zombie survival, this game had everything I could imagine. Zombies, building, guns. I played this game a lot with my friends back in 2013, and then I sort of forgot about it. But about a year ago, it randomly popped up on my Steam page, and I got hit with a wave of nostalgia. And then I started to wonder why it never became more than Minecraft. Or at least didn't try and compete harder. Because to me, at the time, the game felt like it could be a direct competitor. Because it felt very innovative, and it felt very good. And upon replaying it, I see now that that was probably just me being a child. But at the same time, the game still had a lot of potential if they put like attentive updates in and actually gave it care. So why didn't they? Why didn't the devs make this game better than it was? What went wrong with Castle Miner Z, and why is it a relic from a period of gaming that gives anyone that's played it immediate nostalgia? That's what I intend to explain in this video. The game was first released on the Xbox Live indie game market with such beautiful games such as I Made a Game with Zombies in it and Super Amazing Wagon Adventure. I thought the Xbox Live indie market was a bit more popular, but it seems as though I was thinking of games from the Xbox Arcade, which I think also had these same kind of indie games. The game came out only 2 years after Minecraft, so it already had a strong chance to take over the gaming scene, especially because Minecraft in 2011 wasn't really all that. While maybe nostalgic, it's nowhere near the level that Castle Miner Z was on, or at least how it felt at the time. I think I was so genuinely enamored with the fact that this game is essentially just Minecraft with guns that I've even let it cloud my nostalgic view of the game. In 2014, the game was released on Steam, making the game survivable beyond the indie market, which is something not very many indie games from the indie market did. Most of these games that were on the indie market would be left to rot or die and would be forgotten. Not Castle Miner Z though, the game was determined to prevail. By about 2014-ish to 2015 was when I officially just stopped playing the game and forgot about it, because that's about where I transitioned into the Xbox One, and the Xbox One didn't really have a big indie market, or if it did, it didn't carry too many of the same games over. This was a tragic loss, and to be honest, I really wish I could go back and see all the games that I used to play. It was a very nostalgic period of my life, and it honestly reminds me of a time when life was simpler, when my only want in life was Minecraft with guns. But moving past the existentialism, let's talk about what made Castle Miner Z great, and why it didn't continue to be better than Minecraft. When you throw $6 at the game devs and buy this slop game, and you first load into the menu kind of tells you just how dated this game is. I don't know what it is or how to explain it, but the menu just screams early 2000s Xbox. You probably won't find any online games of Castle Miner Z, and we'll get into why that is, but first you'll want to load into an offline game and choose one of the many modes available to you. The first mode is Endurance, which is a mode that gives you a direction to walk in, and you have to walk to that destination while surviving onslaughts of the game's various enemies, and then at the end, you fight the boss, which is the undead dragon. There's Survival, which is your basic sandbox survival mode. You chop down trees, get new materials, kill enemies, craft new items, and survive. There's Dragon Endurance mode, which is essentially the same as Endurance, but there are dragons constantly attacking you, and you unlock it after you beat Endurance mode for the first time. There's Creative mode, which is the ultimate sandbox mode of this game. It's just the same as any creative mode in any sandbox game ever. It just has an inventory of all the items you can use. There's Exploration mode, which gives you an unlimited use of your items. And then finally, my personal favorite, Scavenger mode. Scavenger mode is like normal mode, but there's more loot blocks. Let's go on a tangent really quick and talk about these loot blocks. They're a piece of the game that I found to be incredibly interesting, and I thought it was really dope, and I didn't really remember it back when I played the game, but here they are. The loot blocks in this game, as they look on screen, are essentially just lucky blocks from the Lucky Block Minecraft mod, but they only give you good items instead of a chance to give you something negative. These spawn normally in the survival mode, but they're not really a focal point. In scavenger mode, they're scattered all over, and they're by far the most useful thing in the game. Unlike Minecraft, where the underlying goal is to get to the end and kill the inner dragon and then you roll credits, there really isn't an end to this game. There is if you play the endurance mode, I guess, of course, which is just reaching the point you're supposed to reach and then killing the dragon. But then again, endurance mode wasn't where I spent my time for filming this video. When you select your mode, which will probably just be basic survival, you'll notice that you spawn in with some items already. You start with a stone pickaxe, a knife, a stone handgun, 200 bullets, and 16 torches. There is no food or thirst mechanic in this game whatsoever, which I think is a first sign as to why the game never officially surpassed Minecraft. There are no passive mobs in this game at all that you can just kill for food, sustenance, or any materials. Instead, everything in this game is very simple and direct. You chop down a tree for wood, you mine the stone for stone, and you kill the enemies, and sometimes they drop stuff. And you might think that the game giving you 200 bullets off rip is a lot, but you'll quickly learn that it might not even be enough. The mobs in this game all have a lot of health, and I believe they get stronger the farther you move from your spawn point. This can be annoying, as you'll realize fairly early in this game that it's very unforgiving, even on normal difficulty. Most enemies can actually kill you in just about 3 hits, which gives this survival sandbox game a Call of Duty Zombies feel when it comes to the health situation. I think the area you spawn in is usually the same every time. It's the same biome. It's just a fairly green area with plenty of sand patches and a large obelisk-like tower, which is your spawn tower. The first thing you'll probably do after counting your inventory and getting your boundaries is find materials to build or craft with. Like Minecraft, one of the first things you want to do is mine. The mining in this game is just a generic mining system where you mine ores and craft them into metals to use for other tools and resources. If you keep digging, you'll find better ores that will continue to give you greater tools, but don't dig too far or you might find yourself in hell. More on that later. After you get a lot of blocks and ores on the first day, the first thing you're going to immediately want to do is make a base. This game is the literal embodiment of the dirt house in Minecraft, as you'll most likely not spend too much time on your first house if you spend too much time building your base at all. This is because the nighttime in this game is vicious and the most unforgiving part of the game. At nighttime, the monsters and creatures are constantly spawning around you and ready to kill you. On top of that, the zombies are also much faster. They jump pretty high. They're so fast. They're so fast. I don't think I can iterate how much fucking faster they are. To combat this immense zombie speed, you yourself get a good sizable jump and a little double jump mechanic that makes it easier to like move and navigate and get away. But to counter that, your stamina bar doesn't it isn't worth anything. Like you run for half a second and your character's tired and now you've been hit twice and you're gonna die now. Also, when you get hit repeatedly or a zombie jumps super high and fast and lands on your head, jumping is a lot harder to do and this will get you killed a lot, or at least it did for me. But after you get through your first night, your next step to survival will most likely be to go out and continue to explore. So that's exactly what you do. You go out and you mine loot blocks, you mine materials, and you bring it all back to your base. Maybe while mining a loot block, you'll see that you got diamond bullets. What does this entail, you might ask? Well, it's not really a stronger form of ammo for the handgun you spawn with, it's actually the ammunition for a much stronger variant of weapon in general. In Castle Miner Z, on top of all the different kinds of guns that exist, there are also different materials that you can use to craft better versions of these guns. For example, the pistol that you spawn with is just a regular, I think it's a stone handgun, but to use the diamond bullets you found, you need a bloodstone handgun, or just a bloodstone weapon. There are 7 total different types of ores in the game, and only 6 of them are used for crafting weapons. Coal is used to craft things like torches or ammunition, or to break the other ores down into their metallic forms. The stuff you spawn in with is ordinary stone stuff that you can craft with just the stone in the ground. But there's also copper, iron, gold, diamond, and the strongest, bloodstone. There also aren't multiple bullet types outside of material-based variants, so if you have 3 bloodstone weapons, you should definitely stock up on diamond bullets. Each version of weapons requires ammunition made from 1 tier below, so if you get a bloodstone gun, you need diamond bullets. If you get a gold gun, you need iron bullets. Now that you know what your different types of ammo are for, and you understand the material system a little more, you can continue your exploration. Then suddenly, while you're exploring, you see a weird cube that appears just really out of place. Maybe it's a new ore you haven't discovered yet. Maybe it's a new mechanic. Spoiler alert, it's a new mechanic. You approach it and see that it's a spawner of sorts. There are monster spawners, alien spawners, there are a lot of different spawners. These don't work necessarily the same as the Minecraft monster spawners where you destroy it and move on. Instead, you right click it and a bunch of enemies that correlate to the type of spawner it is spawn in and you have to kill them all. If you're unprepared for this, then there's a good chance you'll die. And when you finally die, you'll find yourself spawning all the way back at that obelisk thing that you first spawned in at, and now you have to go back to find what you lost and your base. Except, good luck getting back anything you lost, as the despawn time of items on the ground is so absurdly fast that if you're any amount of distance away from your spawn point when you die, you're most likely not getting your stuff back. So that's why you should keep all of your valuables in your hotbar or a chest, because your hotbar is untouched by death. When you finally make it back to your base, the first thing you'll probably do is think to make a bed or something to set your spawn so you don't have to run all the way back. Well, what is the unique way to set your spawn in this game? Is it sleeping in a bed like most survival games? No, you just place a block down and now that's where you spawn. I thought it was kind of lame and dumb if I'm being honest. But now after you've created your spawn block, you're ready to go back out again. But don't, because it's probably nighttime again, because that shit sneaks up on you. And I don't know about you, but I'd rather not get inappropriately touched by the undead, so I'd stay inside for the night. Speaking of staying inside for the night, one of my biggest personal issues with this game is that there is no sleep mechanic. Usually in games like this, there's a way to skip the night or the most dangerous part of the game, but not in this game. In this game, you get to sit awake and listen to the sounds of the zombies trying to break away at your walls. If the enemies are strong enough, they can actually break through your walls like the Kool-Aid Man, which ain't cool, man. But after you wait for the absurdly long nighttime to go away, you might go back outside and continue exploring. Say you make your way back to the spawner from before and you activate it again. This time you win, you kill all the enemies, and in return, there's now a neat new loot block right in front of you to loot. And it's when you're breaking this reward loot block that you hear a loud screeching sound. You think it might be a strange noise that a zombie made as it charges you. You're on high alert. But then, you look up in the sky above you, you'll find a dragon flying around, dropping fireballs on you. At first, the dragons are extremely threatening, but after proper jumping, good timing, and the luck to not have monsters constantly spawning around you, you'll find that the dragons really aren't that hard to kill as long as you have ammo. They just have a lot of health. If you manage to kill a dragon, they'll drop explosive powder and other materials. Now that you're kind of kitted up because the loot blocks spoil you and you've officially killed your first dragon, you might want to explore to find one of the various biomes. In Castle Miner Z, there are 8 total biomes, but only 2 of them are actually really interesting or cool or important. There's your generic grasslands, mountains, snow tundras, and deserts and what have you, but this game's most interesting biomes are by far the Hell biome and the Crash Site biome. There's also a volcano land, but whatever. In this game, the biomes aren't really randomly placed or something that you just wander into for a specific set of materials, or at least not the sole purpose, but instead the biomes are closer to a progression system because the biomes change and get harder based on how far you are from your spawn. The end goal of the survival mode is to essentially just get through hell and get good enough to be able to casually visit it so you can strip it of its resources and continue to get stronger. Some might argue that the Crash Site biome is the end goal, considering that it's significantly harder to get to than hell and it's further away and whatever. But that's up to the players of this game to decide, I guess. After you go through these biomes, build your base, and go through hell and back literally and figuratively, you'll find that there's not much else to do besides beat the bosses like the Undead Dragon or the Skeleton King. There isn't really anything to do post-game. Most games like this usually let you roam around or do a bit more stuff after the bosses are beaten, and while you technically can, there's really nothing else to do. There's no food to strive for, there are no farms to build, and the building in this game is way less fluid and easy to do in comparison to Minecraft, and you'll be left with nothing else to do after your first playthrough. I guess you can try and build a base in hell, but that might be quite hard and time consuming considering the hell beasts would probably just break through any generic building block you put down there. There's not really any automation that can be made, so there's no like automated farming, there's no automated systems, there's no like redstone kind of like electricity sort of stuff. There's no sustainment in the post game, and that's kind of sad because like I feel like if your sandbox game is really good, then it should be able to be good past the post game, because that means you can just do anything else. And that brings us to the bitter end of the topic of today's video. Castle Miner Z had mechanics that, as a child, I desperately wanted out of Minecraft, so it was an exceptional replacement or competitor. Now that I'm about to be 20 and have much better knowledge on computers, how to use mods, and all this extra stuff, I don't need shitty alternate versions of Minecraft to grip the feelings of all the Minecraft mod videos I watched on YouTube as a kid. But that doesn't mean I don't think Castle Miner Z couldn't have competed with Minecraft if they had really put in the effort. So that begs the question of, why didn't they? Well, the devs of this game, Digital DNA, I don't want to say were lazy, but from the looks of it, they were incredibly lazy. Digital DNA is a game company that banked on avatar-based 360 games, which are games where you play as your Xbox 360 avatar. Digital DNA is actually responsible for some of the games I remember vividly playing, such as Avatar Paintball, Avatar Warfare, and Avatar Laser Wars. Castle Miner Z itself was an Avatar game, but unlike most Avatar games, that wasn't like the key mechanic that people paid attention to, so it was more just a small detail that people thought was cool, the ability to use your own avatar in-game. I actually don't know why these Avatar games aren't really being made anymore, as while none of them were really good or long-lasting, they were still mindless fun that you could turn on for 10 minutes and never touch again. That and my avatar has to be getting bored. He used to be doing shit every day, and now he just kind of sits there and occasionally pops up and waves at the camera. But I digress. Digital DNA simply just didn't do anything after the release of the game. There were plenty of bugs to be fixed, content to be added, and updates to be had, but none of that came to fruition. I found a Steam forum discussing Castle Miner Z and asking about it, and it seems that the game really started going downhill popularity-wise in about 2021, with one user stating that the online servers are incredibly toxic or 18 plus. Damn, people be fucking in Castle Miner Z. Crazy. So I imagine that due to a bad player base, the fact that the devs are known for making shit Avatar games and pretty much abandoning them, and the fact that this game was widely seen as a miserable, bland Minecraft copy looking to capitalize off of the people like myself that really wanted a Minecraft with guns. Alright, I'd like to take a break for a second from the main topic of this video and discuss something kind of unrelated. I didn't really know where to place this, so I'm just going to place it here towards the end. But there was another game that I played on the Xbox 360, and I'm pretty sure it was also an Avatar kind of game where you play as your avatar, but this one was pure zombie survival. It wasn't like Minecraft where it had all these sci-fi and physical, like these other elements. It was just straight zombie survival, and there was like cities, and you could like build and other stuff. And I vividly remember a sledgehammer, I think, being a really overpowered weapon for both zombies and destroying buildings. And I remember it being online, and everything about the game was incredibly peak, and I've been looking for it forever. And every time I think about old Xbox 360 zombie games I used to play, this is the first one that comes to mind. And so I'd like to ask anyone watching if they could help me find this game. It was an Avatar zombie game on the Xbox 360 that had destruction mechanics, cities, and it was the first person. I wish I could give you more information to work with, and it's been eating at me for a while. Like, I can picture what the game looks like, how it's played. I vividly remember breaking walls with a sledgehammer, but I can't remember anything else about the game. I literally didn't know where to put this in the video, but I wanted to mention it because I associate this game with Castle Miner Z because I played them around the same time, and they were both indie zombie games where you played as your avatar. Like I said, this has absolutely nothing to do with the video, and I spent entirely too long talking about this already, but damn it, if I find this game and it's still playable, I'll make a video on it. So let's take a look-sees backsies on Castle Miner Z as a whole. Castle Miner Z is the second game in a trilogy of Castle Miner games, but it's most likely the only one you've heard or played about unless you're like actually niche, in which case, good for you. There were two other Castle Miner games, one that was before and one that was after, but we don't talk about those. Castle Miner Z had everything extra that I wanted out of Minecraft, but the problem with that was that it only had the extra that I wanted out of Minecraft without the base version of Minecraft along with it. While there were guns, more mob variants, and in my opinion, cooler biomes, there were also terrible players, terrible devs, and absolute dogshit mechanics that make this game more jank than fun. While I think going back through nostalgic games is always worth it, even if they change how I view the game, I feel like this game was meant to be left in the past. But to rebuttal that, even though Castle Miner Z is a dead game with barely any community of casual players, if any at all, it's not gone. In fact, scheduled for release in 2026, we have Castle Miner Z Resurrection, which is a full-blown remake of the original Castle Miner Z. Just by looking at the screenshots, I can tell that the remake has more effort and more, like, better graphics put in place, but the game looks still like slop, like, it looks kind of like slop. Castle Miner Z will forever be a very prominent part of my life as a gamer, even if it's nowhere near my favorite game or the most impactful that I've played. The game brought me a very simple joy as a child, and it's a kind of joy that I don't get out of games anymore. As we've shifted more towards quality over quantity in the gaming world, we've lost the hidden gems amongst the high quantity of bad games, which is really sad. That's not to say that there still aren't good bad games, but they just don't bring me the same amount of enjoyment. Maybe it's because I've grown up, or maybe there's an aesthetic that's missing, but either way, it's sad to see that era of gaming gone. If you liked hearing about niche games like Castle Miner Z or just old indie Xbox games, just let me know and I have no problem with making more videos explaining the games, the gameplay, and why they might have been left behind or aren't really talked about as much anymore. I really enjoy making these videos, and if you enjoy watching them, you should totally show some support and drop a sub. I kind of want to make a video talking about Apex Z and why it's not around anymore, so if you're down for that, let me know. Anyway, thank you for watching. This has been the game that could have competed with Minecraft, And I have been, will be, and always was. Word. Word out.